people like do all this and the snobs.
And so you don't like that kind of a person? Let's look at our poem up here today and see. We'll have more time to share those thoughts in a minute. All right, one more person's thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, I want to add a little bit more to what Sarah said. It's
All right.
like the queens spend hours and hours putting all their makeup on, and they just get all dressed in some beautiful clothes just to walk around the palace.
And you don't think that that's so neat
Just
after
to
all?
walk around the palace.
You don't like that idea?
Nobody's going to see it except their servants.
Could you all put your eyes up here, please?
I'm nobody.
Excuse me, Gary. Twice, and you'll be back at your desk. Sit the proper way in here, please. You ready, Tim? All right. Together, you've never seen this poem, so your eyes have to be up here. It's not one that you've memorized. I'm nobody. Who are you? I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell. They banish us, you know. How dreary to be somebody. How public like a frog. To tell your name the livelong day to an admiring bog. Well, this is a very grown-up poem by Emily Dickinson. What is Emily Dickinson trying to tell us here? Think about it for a minute. What do you think, Trevor? He says to be yourself. Why do you think it says that it's better to be yourself? You just got that feeling from Emily Dickinson? Some new people. Who else wants to share what they're thinking? Kyler.
When you're being yourself, you don't have to, but you don't, like,
You want to wait a minute and keep thinking? Go ahead, Sarah.
if you be yourself, like, if you see people on the outside, like, you really want to be them, but you don't see them on the inside. Like maybe you have to take piano, which you never would like to do, or take some kind of lessons, and you never really wanted to do that, but if you were them, you would have to take them.
So that, you mean you think there's things about other people that you don't know? Some, even though on the outside it looks like their life is wonderful, there might be some inner things that aren't so great?
Like, if you be another person, like, you aren't yourself, like, maybe you don't like dogs, and, like, the other person has a dog or a cat.
Which verse tells us it's better to be who you are? The first verse or the second verse of this poem? Which verse? Tiffany? All right, is this the second verse? All right, let's read this one and see if we agree with her. How dreary to be somebody, how public like a frog, to tell your name the livelong day to an admiring bog. You think Emily Dickinson there is saying it's better to be yourself instead of being somebody who's right out there in the highlight all the time? Why does she say to be public like a frog? How is a frog public? Gary?
They're all the same.
They're all the same? Maybe. Steph?
It's like frogs. Everybody at least knows a little bit about frogs, and so that means everybody knows frogs, but not everybody knows everybody in the world.
But when a frog comes out,
You know it's a frog.
you know it's a frog. He's kind of out there. He doesn't have much covering him, does he?
No.
No. And who's looking at him? Where does a frog live? In the water. We have a word here in our poem. Bog. What's a bog? pond or a
Swamp.
swamp, a marshland. Good for you, Jessica. Here's our frog, and all the other frogs are just looking at him all day long. How boring, right? You're just out there. You can't be yourself. You have to be out in the public just having everybody look at you. That's not always such a pleasant life,
No,
is it?
because they'll think you're beautiful.
But when Emily Dickinson says, I'm nobody, does she really mean that you're not important?
No.
Because even if you are just an ordinary person, what part of you is very special?
Your heart.
Your heart, what else?
Your brain. Yourself.
Brain, yourself, right? Whatever is inside of you is what's important. So you're not really a nobody. You're just not somebody who's always out there with everybody looking at them. Kind of like Jonathan Bing was happy who he was, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Before we leave our poem this morning, though, this poem has a few things that might be interesting to us when we're doing our writing. It has a few contractions. If you think you see a contraction up there, you can come up and get one of the little stickies and put it under the word. No, I'll call somebody to come up instead of everybody. So, Katrina, I'm glad you want to work with us this morning. Find one. Where to?
No.
Don't, she says. All right. Don't. Okay, Katrina, tell us why you chose don't. Why is that a contraction?
Because do not is don't is at the end of do not.
Read that sentence and see how you could say it another way.
Then there's a pair of us do not tell.
She could say do. Just a second, Justin. We're going to stick with don't for a minute. Let's look at our contraction chart and see if it's up there yet. Is it up there? All right. Tell me what I'm going to put then, Katrina. You said you could substitute there. Instead of saying don't, you could say do not. All right. Let's write the word do.
Nobody has it.
I don't think I have do not.
You have it right there.
Didn't. It's a little different. To make a contraction, what does the author have to do? What did Emily Dickinson do, Katrina?
She took off the N and the O.
All right, let's look at
The
it.
N's still there.
Let's look at it. She's going to look at it again. What does it?
O.
All right, but does she just take it off? What does she have to do first to her words?
She squishes them together.
She should put them right together, right? She should take out that empty space. All right, and then she took out the O, and what did she put in its place?
T.
All right, before she put the T,
Comma.
good for you. It looks just like a comma, but when it's up high, we call it an apostrophe. Anybody else see another contraction that Emily Dickinson used? Okay, Justin, you've been so ready. Go ahead, find it.
I can reach it.
Oh, I know. I'm going to have to give you more food. Where am I putting it? Here?
Yeah.
All right. Let's find a longer one because that's a long word. All right. First, read the sentence the way it is, Justin.
Then there's a pair of us don't tell.
All right. Now, could you read it so it doesn't have the contraction, but it says two words instead?
Then there is a pair of us that don't tell.
All right. What two words did you use?
There's and there is.
Did you? Theirs. You went from theirs to there is. Let's see if it's on our chart yet. Oh, we've got lots of new ones today. I'm going to have to back up here. What two words should I write, Justin?
There's.
And this is one of those, when I write there, Here's that word there. It's the opposite of here. That's how we know how to spell that one. All right, there is what it could be. All right, now what am I going to do to make it a contraction?
Theirs.
And but what am I going to do to these two words?
Apostrophe?
Where am I going to put an apostrophe?
In the middle.
Right in the middle between there and is? Is that what an author does? Just takes two words, puts an apostrophe? Let's look up at what Emily Dickinson did. Is that what she did?
No.
What did she do?
She put it near the S.
She put it near the S, but did she have to do something first? There is. Now look what she did. What does an author do when they want to make a contraction? To make two words one.
Leave one out.
Leave one word out? You're getting there. What did she, before she left anything out, what did she have to do with those two words? Remember what Katrina said? What did she say for don't? What did she have to do? She had to
Put them together.
She had to put two words together. What two words are you going to put together? There is. But what are you going to do before you really squish them together totally?
Theirs.
What are you going to take any letter out? Shall I just put is right next to it?
No.
What do I want to do?
Put apostrophe before you put the S.
Good for you. I'm going to take out that little S, I, and put in the then put the S. All right? Good job. Are there any more? Okay, Ryan. Katrina. These things are getting. All right, read it. Read it as it is, Brian.
They banish us, you know.
They'd banish us, you know. Read it now with two words in the place of they'd. It's a hard one. Let's read it from the beginning and maybe it would help a little bit. I'm nobody, everybody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us, don't tell. They, somebody said it, they would banish you, you know. That's a hard one. We have another one up here. You would became you'd, right? What does the author do when they put these two words together? They would. Do they only take out one letter?
No.
A whole bunch of letters, right? And we're going to have to get more chart paper, so we won't put that up today. We'll put that up tomorrow because we're almost coming to the end today. We'd have to put they would, instead of you would, they would, put them together and get they'd. That's a very hard one, and that was good thinking back there. Okay. Tiffany, would you please go sit on the other side of Ryan? And keep your hands to yourself. This king and kind of stuff we've kind of talked enough about, but is there another word for a king? We call somebody who leads a country something else besides a king? A leader. They're called a leader sometimes. You're right, Tim. Think of another one.
Emperor.
Sometimes they're called an emperor. An emperor is just another word for the leader of a country. Jessica? Sometimes a president is the leader of the country, but that is a little different because they're always elected. But the emperor and the king have a different history, which we won't get into this morning, but sometimes a king is called an emperor. In this castle, where they often live, they have people that work for them or do things for them. Does anybody know what some of these people are called? All right, there might be a cook. Servants and maids.
There are wait, what was I gonna say? There are
Keep thinking. Tim.
Guard.
A guard. Good for you.
a butler.
A butler. That's the cook, right?
That's what I was gonna say.
What's that?
It's different. It's pharaoh.
A pharaoh. Okay.
Prisoners.
They might have prisoners, but they're not working for them, right? What do you think?
A knight.
A knight might be there. Now, sometimes there's people that help them with their jobs. And it's not a word that I really don't think you're going to come up with because it's not one we use a lot. But it's called the minister. They have people, we think of a minister sometimes as being a religious person or a prime minister, right? But they're usually the leader that's voted by the people. Justin, one more thing. Well, I just wanted you to know that a minister is someone who works in the castle for the king before we get into our story. The story we have today is a fairy tale from Denmark. It's again by Hans Christian Andersen, who also wrote The Ugly Duckling. And as we read it, we're going to see which characteristics of a fairy tale The Emperor's New Clothes has. Let's go over them again. What does a fairy tale usually begin with? They usually have a
King and a queen, castle, magic spell, evil fortune of creature, lady of
love and romance, talking animal, happy ending. All right, as we read The Emperor's New Clothes, we're going to see if this really fits into a fairy tale. We're not going to be able to finish it today. We'll be finishing it tomorrow. How many of you have never heard the story The Emperor's New Clothes? Is there anybody who never heard it? All right. If you've never heard the story, you can make predictions along the way. No fooling us. If you've heard the story, you can discuss the characters with us, but remember, it's not fair for you to make predictions because you know the answer. Well, if you saw it on TV, then you know the story, though. But the storyline will be the well, it would be different in the book, just like in our Venn diagram, but it'll be the same storyline probably, Johnny. All right, now sit down on your bottoms because a lot of you are rocking from one side to another. There's many times they're in them. Sit flat, please, so that nobody's rocking over to their neighbor. Do not open the book. Just, I think we have enough today for everyone. If not, we'll share a couple. Could you wait a minute in case we're going to share? All right, Lindsay, take one. Just pass it to this side over here. All right. I think a few of us might have to share, but all right. Take those and pass them back. Katrina and Steph, if there aren't enough, would you share? And you two share if there's not enough. All right.
I wonder who it's by.
All right. Who's short a book? All right. Would you please look on with Rebecca? Can you cooperate if you work with him? Justin, you want to move over a little bit, please, so he can sit flat, Gary. All right, Trevor. All right, would you share with me? All right, let's just look at the cover first. The Emperor's New Clothes by Hans Christian Andersen. Now, what does it say under the author's name? Retold by Ruth Belov Gross. As most fairy tales, we have a retold person. Pictures by Jack Kent. Now, if you had never heard this story and you just saw the illustration on the cover, what might you say about this story? You want to make a prediction, Tim? You said he looks like a king. What makes you say that?
Because he has a crown.
Because he has a crown. Any other reason he maybe looks like a king?
Because I can see the robe that he
she sees the robe that he has down there. What haven't I heard from this morning?
What about shoes?
Matt, anything else on there? What did you say, Tim?
The shoes.
The shoes. He said they don't look like shoes we wear. That makes them think it's a king. Stephanie?
He's fat because kings eat a lot.
Oh, she says he's fat because kings eat a lot. Could be true.
They never get hungry. They always
Sarah?
Because it has a server right here.
Ah, there's someone else that looks like they belong to a different time and place. What about their hair?
They're curled.
Does it look much like your dad's hair?
Washington.
It looks kind of like George Washington's hair. But now that you know this must be a story about a king type of person with a title and all, what other prediction could you make if you've never heard the story about what might be happening to this king? Stephanie says he's kind of fat and his clothes are down. Why do you
He
suppose?
gets new clothes.
But if you know the story, you're not making predictions, remember? Somebody over here who doesn't know the story, a couple people. Kyler, did you say you didn't know the story? Why do you suppose what is he standing in front of? A mirror. Why do you suppose a king would be standing in front of a mirror?
Because he probably doesn't know he's fat.
So you think he has a weight problem in this story? Is that his problem? Maybe clothes don't fit, ate too much? Let's open it up to the first page and see if
He doesn't have any clothes on. He thinks that's his new clothes.
you think so, huh? Just a page, it begins really on page 4. After you've gone past the title page and there's a dedication page,
Page 4.
begins on page 4. Just read it quietly to yourself, please. I'm gonna try.
Everybody find. There was once an emperor who lived long now new clothes. He spent all of his money on clothes, and he spent all of his time trying on that new clothes, new suits, and
Showing.
showing them off.
Good for you. Well, what do you think about this emperor? Do you like him?
Sure.
Johnny likes him. Let's see. Why do you like him, Johnny?
Well, because I like new clothes and I like new clothes, but I won't spend all my money on it.
You wouldn't spend all your money on
But
it?
I like
And it says he's a
So you
show-off.
think he's okay?
Yeah.
What about that, Tim?
It says he's a show-off.
Tim, do you like people who are show-offs? Not really? Do you think you're going to like this king or this emperor?
He's funny though.
Oh, you think he's funny, but you're not. But you don't like the fact that he shows off. Is that it? Dan, don't go on yet, please.
I like the king because he's sort of like cross thing.
I can't hear you. What, you like him because?
100 pairs of sneakers and a lot of shirts and pants.
So you think that's okay to like to show off all these things, Meredith? Wait, Meredith raised her hand to share.
Tim, because if you got all these like clothes, somebody would probably think you were a show off because just to walk around the whole palace like that. I mean, if you're going somewhere
You're only
special,
gonna see
you should wear them.
only gonna see your
If you're not
treasure.
going anywhere special, you shouldn't wear it. I think that's.
So you're not fond of this king either so far. Is there anybody who likes the king besides Johnny? You like him?
Yeah, because I like his clothes because he has a pattern in his clothes.
Pattern.
Say that again. She likes the pattern in his clothes, just like we did on our Norwegian scholars. She likes the pattern. You like what he's wearing. Does that tell you that you like him? Just you like the clothes he chooses? All right. She thinks he's. Go ahead, Deja. One more person.
I think he's like a show off because like he wants he buys clothes but he spent all of his money and like it isn't he just wants him to be
Just so cool. And you're not fond of them
Yeah,
either.
because I would
Well,
spend
let's.
money on other
So
things.
once you get
Wow,
this
all right. Some people want money spent on other things. Maybe he'll have a chance. What's your problem?
If he's buying all those clothes and he buys lots of clothes, if he doesn't and he wants to buy more and he has no money.
Oh, you mean he might run out of money?
Yeah.
Even emperors might run out of money? Well, let's see if this. So you think that might be a problem in the story, that he's going to soon run out of money? Let's go on and see if that is his problem. Yes, you can read the 2 pages, and then it's almost time for you to go. All right.
Once one day, 2 men came to the town wearing the emperor's lived. They said they were very weavers. But they said they could weave the most beautiful cloth in the world.
The men were not really weavers, though. They were liars.
I know.
The 2 men went straight to the emperor's
They
palace.
they don't even use anything. They say that
Your Majesty, said one of the men. Everybody knows about the beautiful cloth we weave. God, you read now.
how we could say
Amazing.
amazing thing about it. The other man said
Some
people
cannot see our cloth.
they cannot see it
Even
even when they are looking right at it.
A good reader not only predicts, not yet, time to go. What else does a good reader need to do sometimes?
He needs to find out a word
All right, needs to clarify words, ask questions about what they're reading. Is there anyone who needs a word clarified? Sure about that? Good for you. They don't need any words clarified either, Justin?
Actually, one word.
Actually, one word. Okay, what is it? What page is it, Justin? Page 6 or 7?
6.
Page 6. What paragraph, Justin? Actually, that's not, those paragraphs are spaced. This publisher didn't indent for us, so it's hard to tell. The first group of words, the second or the third, Justin?
The second.
The second one. All right, go ahead. Read up until the word you need clarified.
The men were not really blank. They were.
All right, so you got 3.
3. Yeah.
Justin, you know that first word you came to there that you needed clarified? If you read carefully the first paragraph, that word came up in the first paragraph. Let's begin in the beginning. You want to read just the first paragraph? Read it out loud. Just the first sentence. Go ahead, Sarah. Begin the first sentence.
One day, 2 men came to town where the emperor lived.
Okay, you got that so far, Justin? All right. Now read the next sentence, Justin.
They said they were wizards.
All right. That's it. It's okay if he thought. Let's see if wizards is going to do what, Justin? What does a word have to do?